And we're live. What's going on, John?
Not much. Just it's been the week that we're recording, it's been a crazy week so far. So especially with all the Apple announcements and stuff. So excited to jump in. What's going on with you?
Just doing more automations and stuff. I've been having to do some voice automations for demoing some stuff for clients and that. And excellent inbound and outbound voice agents are they're great. They're working pretty good, and I'm going to start using them. So if anybody's interested, give flowgrammer.ca a call and check them out. But we might as well check us out. We'd happily have a call for you to build you some voice agents. Let's jump into this. So I'm on the wrong page. There we go. I was about to talk about Apple when I'm
talking about the rival angles.
Yeah. Let's unpack the historical Google antitrust ruling, what it means for search, AI, startups, and you. We've been talking about this for a while when it first came to, when it first went to court, when Google replied, what the court ruling was saying, maybe we're going to do all these things. And now we finally have a ruling as to what the punishment will be for Google. So what's going on here, John?
Yeah. So Judge Amit Mehta, I guess, he had this 277-page ruling, and he found that Google violated Section 2 of the Sherman Act, which you love. Well, not love, but we've talked about it a couple times, by maintaining an illegal monopoly in general search services and general text advertising. So the court established that Google enjoys an 89.2% share of the market for general search services, which increases even more to 94.9% on mobile devices. So what actually happened was that Google paid companies like Apple, and we covered this before, but for those of you that don't know, paid them $26 billion in 2021 alone to be the default search engine on phones and browser. So the judge said that this was illegal monopolistic behavior. But instead of breaking up Google, like we had talked about and covered, that maybe they have to sell off Chrome or Android, he ordered them to stop these exclusive arrangements and share certain search data with rivals for the next 6 years. Now, why does this matter? What is this actually going to make an impact? Well, it's the first major antitrust win against big tech since Microsoft in the late 1990s. So while Google is able to keep its core business intact, I guess this kind of opens up the door for more competition in search. And it could change how we find information online. But to me, we've already changed how we find information online, right? With all these AI, LLMs and things that you're talking with. But what are your thoughts on this, Craig? Do you think this is going to make an impact? Or what are your thoughts?
Well, it's going to make an impact. And so we're just talking, and we'll get to the payments and whatnot. We're talking about the data sharing agreement. So we're still not clear as to what exactly needs to be. The exact scope and timeline of the implementation remains under discussion. What needs to be shared, how many years, with what qualified competitors. So, the requirement targets company like DuckDuckGo and other search engines so that they'll have access to this historical data, can tune their search engines based on user behavior that they've had for years and whatnot. So I guess that allows the new up and comers. I'm thinking less DuckDuckGo and more of Comet and what OpenAI is doing and whatnot, to say, oh, great, we'll grab this data and we'll build it into our search engine and potentially leapfrog Google because they're giving us this information. So I think it helps the competition, but the competition was heating up anyway, as everyone has to change. Like, if you haven't noticed, Google's great at serving you targeted ads for exactly what you want, but the articles and what it serves below the targeted ads aren't that great. So it feels like they're not giving you the highest quality results on purpose to keep you there longer, to force you to go to their ads. There's all sorts of videos on that out there. So as there's this new saying, the enshittification of these products and whatnot over time, that newcomers come along. Now they had a majority, agreed to 90% market share and whatnot, but it's just starting to change. I think the judge was a little bit lenient here because the competition is starting to happen now. Like they're starting to see that OpenAI, other multi-billion-dollar companies out there are producing browsers that are now competition and taking, I wouldn't necessarily significant yet, but taking a percentage of search away from them. And as that continues to happen, it's going to level the playing field. And it just becomes, is Google's AI summary is going to be better than OpenAI's or Perplexity's or Claude's or whoever's.
Yeah. And just to kind of get into the details of the data sharing requirements. So the remedies that were talked about include sophisticated technical data sharing mandates. So Google will have to make available certain search index data and user interaction data, though not ads data, which is kind of weird to me because that's where their monopoly lies a lot. So the court specified that data sets, the court specified that data sets Google will be required to share must occur on ordinary commercial terms that are consistent with Google's current syndication services. I have no clue what that means, but people in the industry or in the search industry and stuff will probably know. But so I think this creates like more of a technical framework where competitors can access this search index, and it's not the granular advertising data that drives Google's revenue model, though. So I don't know how big of an, I don't know how beneficial that is, right?
Yeah,
But I'm an expert.
Yeah, I'm not an expert either. So I imagine there's definite benefit because it depends, again, how many years, and how much data they have more than their competition.
Yeah.
So that is interesting. And the fact that you're like let's face it, with 90% of the searches on your Android phones, on your iPhones, on every platform being Google, they have a massive head start on search, way more than anyone else. So when you say we don't know how much it'll help, but if the rest of the market is 10% or less, they got 90% of the data and they're holding it to themselves. So sharing that would be significant.
Yeah. And then the other part too is that he explicitly addressed AI's role in reshaping the search market. So AI models, obviously, they represent a long-term threat to the search industry as chatbots and other AI technologies they become more advanced and behave more like search engine. So the remedies recognize that the need to prevent Google from using the same anti-competitive tactics for its Gen AI products as it used to monopolize the search market. But I think he's a little too late because like Google has already pretty much integrated a lot of their AI products all in together to work better together. So like it's like the Apple ecosystem, right? When you're in the Google ecosystem, just things interact better. But you would know better than I, because I think you're using Gemini more than I am.
Yeah, but I'm just using Gemini, when I use Gemini and when I use AI Studio, they're starting to integrate it better into the workplace where you can use Gemini in Sheets and some of the other apps automatically, which is very interesting. I haven't done too much of a deep dive on how I would use that in my workflows, except for a couple where it automatically adds metadata and stuff for me. So, which is interesting. You don't have to call any external thing. You add something to the sheet and it automatically does stuff. But that aside, Microsoft has got a big deal with OpenAI right now. I think they're making, and is that who they're going?
They're switching to Claude, Microsoft.
That's it. Yeah. So they're going to spend billions with Claude.
Yeah.
So they're moving away from OpenAI, but other people are, the EU's going 100% OpenAI. So you can see that there's a huge amount of competition here. And Apple, I believe, right now is putting OpenAI as their default AI until they get whatever they got going. So they have a big deal. So when people say it's not the same, like Google doesn't have the same monopoly on AI systems as they do on search.
Yeah.
So Google isn't the only answer. So Apple and anyone else can go to any one of these other providers and get just as good or equivalent or relatively equivalent services rather from search, it's hard.
Yeah.
But the monopoly part is still somewhat there, where Android is now what, 50%, 60%, or 70% of the market, whatever is Android. So if Google locks that in, they're going to have to open up that a bit, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen is you're going to, just like a while ago, they made Apple and Google open up what's your default browser, so you can use default browsers on your phone other than the one provided by Apple or Google.
I think that was just Apple, because Android, you could always do that.
There goes Apple.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have the same thing here with AI, where you're going to have multiple options to have choose the AI you want to use.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be legally mandated.
Yeah. And I'm seeing, so we're talking, as we're talking about these strategies, I'm seeing Perplexity, because we don't really talk about Perplexity much, but I feel like they're doing more of the partnerships with companies like Rogers and things like that, because Rogers now, if you're a Rogers customer, you get Perplexity Pro. And so I still think Perplexity is a great product. I'm super excited to try Comet. Perplexity, if you're listening, I'd love to try it. But it's crazy to see all these different strategies that these different AI groups are having, and I know we're getting a little off topic, but my curiosity is like, are we going to have these niche kind of AI products? I think that's where we're going, maybe, right?
Well, that's what I think. I think in the end, we talked a little bit about quantum mechanics on the edge, and quantum AI on the edge, controlling robot arms and stuff. We're going to have, and I think I may have talked to you about this, but I talk about this all the time. We're getting to the point where we're going to have small language models that are different from our large language models. So I'll have 10 or 20 or 30 small language models on my machine that do things for me. This one writes, but and when I say small, I've stripped out all language but English. I've done this, I've done that, I've shrunk it all down. It does this for me. I may want to do English and French because I'm in Canada, whatever. But the point being is, you look at a big model, it's 90 languages, it's this, all these parameters, and then we say, okay, this is my small language model that's for JavaScript. It's all it does is JavaScript. All it knows is JavaScript. That's all it knows. It doesn't know any other coding language. And then I have one for this, and then I have one for that. That's all they know. And it uses those specific things. Everything out is taken away to hone it down to that little thing. So it can be fast, it can be compact. So you only have to carry around the ones that you want. Plus, you'll have your generic LLMs that do all these things, some that'll be public and some that'll be private, as we start to really heat up this privacy war and where the information goes and who controls it and whatnot. The more you give over to AI, we're seeing AI in Hollywood, AI in art, AI everywhere. So the more you give to it, the less value you have. So we have to start thinking about that.
Yeah.
But it's coming. Back to this though. The judge said they rejected bans on the default search agreement. So Google can continue paying billions to remain the default search option on devices. So that can continue to happen. So Mozilla and Firefox can continue on as they're getting all that money from Google, 90% of the revenue. And Google's stock reaction was immediate and dramatic. Alphabet's Inc. stock surged 9% following the ruling. The increase added approximately $230 billion to the company's market value.
Yeah, so this surprised me, but I guess it kind of makes sense. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what the implications are going forward.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how this ruling may influence how regulators approach future tech antitrust cases. And the court's reluctance to impose structural remedies reflects broader changes in the regulating digital markets. Policymakers must balance innovation concerns with competitive enforcement.
Yeah.
So
just to put this into perspective for those of you, this just blew me away. But Google paid more to be your default search engine than many countries' entire economies.
Yeah, think about that.
Just think about that. That's nuts.
So whichever way the appeals go, the takeaway is clear. Prepare for more open AI-shaped future, and it's on its way. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this, how it's going to shape the future of antitrust and tech companies, as well as the future of browser and AI wars. Let us know what your comments are. Let's unpack Neuralink's telepathy trademark battle, where breakthrough brain-computer tech collides with trademark law, market timing, and brand strategy, shaping the future of mind-controlled interface. The telepathy trademark battle represents one of the most fascinating legal conflicts in modern technology. Elon Musk's groundbreaking brain-computer interface, Neuralink, has filed trademark applications that could reshape how we think about mind control technology, and they want to trademark telepathy. What do you think about this, and what's going on here, John?
Yeah, I like this. I like that Elon missed the boat on this. So they're trying to trademark the words telepathy and telekinesis for their brain implant products, but they were beat by a small startup you've never heard of called Prophetic. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
So what's actually happening here is that Neuralink filed trademark applications in March of 2025, which sounds to me pretty late based on, because we've been covering this for a while. Like, you would think that they would have filed it before. But anyways, the names, so they filed the trademark applications for telepathy and telekinesis, which are the names they want to use for their BCI, their brain computer interface products. But the US Patent and Trademark Office said, not so fast, because this 27-year-old computer scientist named Wesley Berry had already filed those same names back in 2023 and 2024 for his lucid dreaming startup called Prophetic. So the twist here is that while Neuralink is putting actual brain chips in people's heads, Berry's company is making a headband that supposedly helps you control your dreams using ultrasound. I think we may have covered it, or we covered something. But both companies are technically in the brain control business, just in different ways, right? So why does this matter? Is it's not just about two companies fighting over cool sounding names. It actually reveals how the exploding BCI industry is racing to claim not just the technology, but the language we're going to use around these futuristic capabilities. So when everyone wants to own telepathy, who gets to define what the word means in the age of brain implants, right? Like, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this Wesley guy is going to win, or what are your thoughts on this, Craig?
Well, according to coverage on trademark strategy from Indie Law website, Neuralink's pathway might be cleared if its competitor fails to demonstrate commercial use within the required time frame.
Oh.
So this possibility adds strategic importance to timing and commercial deployment plans. So if the original filer fails to meet its deadlines in their filing, then Neuralink has a chance to clear their way. But in the end, I have not looked at the value of Prophetic, but how much do you think it would cost
to buy the trademark from them?
We are talking about Elon Musk, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, let's not it's more than you and I can afford, but come on.
If I were him, I'd say you can buy it for $1 billion.
Yeah, this is my point. And so we have a trademark conflict that will probably only make Prophetic rich. But it's important because names steer customer trust, partner adoption, category ownership. As neural interfaces move from trials to commercial reality, who's going to own these brands, the teleport and the telekinesis and telepathy.
And telekinesis.
Yeah, now we're teleporting apparently.
Yeah.
That's a different episode. So assistive computing first, hands-free control for paralysis, then productivity, accessibility, and new human control interaction modes. Sounds great from what Neuralink can do, and the others we talked about, that where they have a thing put in your jugular that has to do with your blood veins and vessels and controls the same way instead of a brain implant. these things are fascinating and amazing, though we'll have to see, it's interesting. Telepathy is a word that people use. Should
Yeah,
we allow someone to trademark that word?
I don't think so.
But it's happening now. But I think at some point, as people start to own words, what happens when I use the word telepathy? If someone
Yeah.
else owns it, does that mean that something they can I no longer use it without referring to them as a company? Is that what happened? So that aside, um, so he owns Prophetic and filed prior trademarks. Wesley Berry.
Yeah.
The company's approach differs significantly from Neuralink's invasive implant technology, focusing instead of external wearable devices. So they've got a similar technology, but it's not invasive and it's wearable. And their vision involves transforming sleep experiences through target neuromodulation. Um, yeah, I can't see Elon Musk not just buying this company.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, Prophetics raised 1.1 million in funding, whereas Neuralink, their valuation jumped from 2 billion to 5 billion upon receiving FDA approval for human trials. Right. So, if we're talking about value, well, obviously, an impact, Neuralink it just kills it. But if we're talking about legal standards and following the rule of law, well, then Prophetic is has done everything right, so far.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what comes of this. I'm really curious to know.
Yeah, and Prophetic's telekinesis patent application received acceptance in August 2025. So they're ahead on both telepathy and telekinesis.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you say things like you can have it for $1 billion, I'm like, yeah, but I can buy your company for 10 million. Why would I? Or 100 million? Like,
Yeah.
you raised $1 million. I'll just come in and say, okay, here's 100 million. I'm just taking it, and I'll own the trademarks too, and off I go. So
Mm-hmm.
it's when you're again like it's not for everybody, but when you're talking about the richest man in the world, or depending on what day of the week it is, and the fact that they screwed over his compensation last time, but the latest package looks like it's worth over $1 trillion.
$1 trillion. That's crazy. Yeah.
So to think that Prophetic is going to stop him,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean you can't take advantage of this, get as much. They can decide not to sell. If it's private, then they can do whatever they want, and they can keep these trademarks. The best bet I would think is to figure out, can you, with your technology, your external wearables, can you add additional functionality to Elon Musk's Neuralink technology, or expand how they can apply that telepathy and telekinesis technology to their patients? Now you've got an interesting complementary package that would make both companies more valuable. So
Yeah.
I like to think in win-win scenarios rather than adversarial scenarios, just because a lot of times you can both win rather than hurting each other. But we'll see. This is they're different approaches. Invasive versus non-invasive may allow coexistence in different market segments or targeting different. So we'll see, and
Yeah.
we'll see if they. I personally don't think they will hold on to these trademarks, because they can take a few $1 million and really inject stuff into the bottom line and just call it something else.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Like you said, they raised $1 million. If they say, you know what, we'll give you a telepathy for 10 million, we'll give you telekinesis for 10 million, that gives us 20 million. We're like 200 times what we've raised, or
Exactly.
whatever, 1,000 times what we've raised already. Let's you put that in the company, off we go and pick another name. So, we'll have to wait and see how these go. So
Yeah.
we'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this. Trademarks may sway branding, but clinical progress drives destiny. Watch the filings, watch the trials, and prepare for a world where thought becomes interface and regulation defines the runway. Let us know what your thoughts are. Who's going to win this legal battle? Or is it just a question of how big the paycheck's going to be? Leave us your thoughts and comments. All right. Did you want that thing you just sent me?
Oh, no. That's for later. Sorry.
All right.
Right.
I only checked it because it came from you. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
sorry. Yeah. No, that's for you. Yeah.
perfect. That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, this is interesting. So let's unpack one of the weirdest, most exciting breakthroughs in material science, a visible time crystal. Not quantum lab voodoo, but a microscopic, see it with your own eyes phenomenon from Colorado Boulder. We'll break this down, why it matters, where it could show up first, from anti-counterfeiting to future storage, cost, timelines, and risks, and what founders and tech folks should do next. So tell us what's going on with these time crystals, John.
Yeah, we've covered time crystals before, but not this size. And I think we've covered them where they only last a few milliseconds or microseconds as well. I can't remember, but so let's dive into this one specifically. So scientists have created the first time crystal that you can actually see with your naked eye. So think about it like a perpetual motion machine that's made of light. It keeps moving and changing patterns forever without any energy input. So it's like a clock that runs eternally without batteries. So what's actually happening here is that the researchers at University of Colorado are wow, Colorado Boulder used liquid crystals, which is the same stuff that's found in your phone screen. And what they did was they shined light on them to create swirling patterns that repeat endlessly. And so under a microscope, these look like psychedelic tiger stripes that dance forever in repeated cycles. So why it's revolutionary is because previous time crystals were microscopic and they required expensive quantum computers to create. This breakthrough makes time crystals visible and uses everyday materials, which opens the door to practical applications like unbreakable security features on money and revolutionary new ways to store data. The wow factor in all of this is that the time crystals essentially break one of the fundamental rules of physics because they exist in constant motion, even in their lowest energy state. So it's like discovering matter that naturally disobeys what we thought was possible, which could lead to technologies that seem purely science fiction. What are your thoughts on this, Craig? Do you think this is this is a breakthrough that's going to help us in the future?
I am not 100% sure. I
Me
mean,
neither.
like, it's cool that we can see this, literally repeating stripe-like waves, like psychedelic tiger stripes that persist for hours and continuously. It runs forever without a battery. So what does that mean? Are we close to perpetual energy once once can we tap into this phenomenon? So the time crystal breaks the time translation symmetry in a way that creates direct observable pattern. So, like, this is great. So they're talking about using it potentially in money for
Yeah.
counterfeiting. So this is really interesting, but it proves that time translation symmetry breaking at a visible scale. So a new phase of matter, practical to study. So now we have a new phase of matter we can study that we couldn't study before, that was purely theoretical. So this opens door to, like I said, tamper-proof authentication and time pattern watermarks and temporal data encoding, which would be really interesting. Bridges theory to engineerable materials, potential platforms for optical and temporal computing. Now, I'm trying to get my head around what temporal computing might mean and how. What are your thoughts on that, John?
I don't know. So I wasn't able to do a super deep dive into this. But so just to kind of talk through this a little bit, previous time crystals, we talked about this. They required quantum computers operating at temperatures colder than outer space. So this worked at room temperature, which used materials you could buy commercially. So that's the huge difference here, which I think is making this a more viable technology. But we're talking about something that was considered theoretically impossible just a decade ago, right? And now you can literally watch it happen under a microscope. So they essentially found a loophole that lets matter exist in eternal motion without consuming energy, which blows my mind. And so I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around what this actually means um, for technology and for science, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So they're talking about, when you talk about data storage technologies, scientists envision stacking multiple time crystals to create revolutionary data store technology system. Each crystal layer could store information in its unique time-based patterns. This approach could lead to ultra-high density storage devices, self-maintaining data systems, information storage that doesn't degrade over time, and novel computing architecture based on temporal patterns. So like it opens up a whole new time lock, all sorts of weird stuff that we can start do. And future innovations with liquid crystal applications could include self-organizing computer systems,
Yeah.
autonomous pattern recognition devices, advanced optical computing solutions, and smarter materials that respond to environmental changes. And one of the things is that these are relatively cheap. These crystals are
Yeah.
the materials are inexpensive. Liquid crystals, coated glass, dyes. The costs hinge on coating precision, line speed, and yield. So um, they have to get that down to be able to do this en masse.
Yeah. And just I didn't we didn't talk about this, but the temporal computer, right? It's actually a theoretical computing system, and you're gonna love this. It processes information across multiple time dimensions or incorporates time as a fundamental computational resource rather than just a parameter.
Okay.
Yeah. So like
And I can run that on my Mac now, can I?
yeah, you can. No, but so current reality is that their concepts today are largely theoretical or only exist as specialized algorithms running on conventional computers. But the researchers are exploring what's called a neuromorphic computing, which mimics how biological brains process temporal information, which we kind of covered, right? Optical computing systems that use light's temporal properties, and obviously quantum computers that might actually be able to handle temporal superposition. And we have covered um, um, the concept of multiple time dimensions or multiple dimensions, right? Like
Yeah.
where they observe things. So it's not too far fetched that now we're talking temporal computing.
Yeah. It's not too far fetched. It just, again, I need to have a few more conversations around what does that mean. It's great when you say that. I'm thinking, okay,
Yeah,
what does that, so I can calculate how does that work? What does that mean? Can you change the past, change the future? Are we just calculating multiple paths, throwing this kind of time crystals into quantum computing to determine the future?
yeah. It makes me think when we're talking about that. It makes me think of that movie with Ben Affleck where he built that
Yeah,
doomsday computer where he reverse engineered it. But anyways,
paycheck or something like that.
paycheck. Yeah,
So time crystals don't create energy from nothing. They maintain patterns without external power source once initiated. While they represent perpetual motion within the system, they cannot be used to generate unlimited energy, as this would violate fundamental physics laws. However, we seem to be breaking fundamental physics laws almost every day now as we discover new things. So that may be something that breaks once we apply quantum physics to it rather than fundamental physics. Their
exactly.
value lies in maintaining patterns and information rather than energy production. So I'm really interested in this new phase of matter discovered through rigorous scientific research and all the new scientific fields and stuff we're going to get out of this as a result. So time crystals flip the script on things settle down. They don't, at least not here. If temporal order becomes an engineering uh, primitive, security, storage, and sensing all change, keep experimenting, keep shipping, because the future won't wait. It oscillates. Things don't stay still.
Yeah,
And, we're going to engineer that into everything moving forward.
yeah.
Let us know what you think about these time crystals and what it means for the future. The universe just blinked. The James West Space Telescope, JWST, spotted the earliest confirmation black hole ever, revealing how quickly cosmic structures sprang to life and forcing a rethink of black hole origins. So the James West Space Telescope confirmed an ultra-early supermassive black hole in galaxy Capers-LRD-Z9, only approximately 500 million years after the Big Bang. So tell us what's going on here, John.
Yeah. So this just blows my mind, right? When we're talking about the JWST. So what they've done is, using the JWST, they've identified a mysterious, let's call it a little red dot called QS01. And it appears to be a massive black hole. How massive, you ask? 50 million times the mass of our sun, with almost no galaxy around it. So it's like finding a cosmic whale in a goldfish bowl. The proportions are completely backwards from what we expect. So why is this revolutionary? It's because normally we think stars form first, then galaxies, and finally black holes grow inside them. But QS01 suggests the opposite might be true. It suggests that black holes formed first and galaxies grew around them, which is weird to me. And this object that they observed appears to be from when the universe was only 700 million years old, in an almost pristine environment of just hydrogen and helium. It's crazy that it says that it's only 700 million years old. The implications of this is that if this is confirmed, this discovery could actually validate Stephen Hawking's decade-old theory about primordial black holes, which potentially solve the mystery of dark matter and explain how supermassive black holes got so big so fast in the early universe. It's like, when we're doing something like this, it's literally looking back in time to see how the universe's most fundamental structures formed. And it's crazy what we're able to achieve and observe with the JWST. Right, Craig? What are your thoughts?
We seem to almost every week, if not every day, getting new things that change our understanding of the universe. Planet-eating suns and how black holes eject mass rather than suck it all in. And there's a few other things that go on, and white holes inside of a black hole, and they glow with radiation energy, and all these things. And we're talking about a new discovery in the last several episodes around how that changed how they thought early galaxies were formed and why certain galaxies stopped forming right away. So now we're taking a look at this, and we're talking about the black holes like started seconds after the Big Bang, and then evolved coexistent with galaxies. So it changes everything when we think about all this stuff. But so, what are black holes? Why did they exist right from the beginning? What does evolving mean? Like, it's a supermassive, but when it starts as a red dot and then goes to, we see it as a red dot because it's so far away and whatnot. But it starts small, but all of a sudden it grows to this supermassive black hole, 50 million times our sun. Like, watching that grow in our galaxies, it's just like, what does it mean? We're now talking, scientists think that there are time tunnels that could be millions of years into the past or in the future and stuff like that. I'm really curious as to how what they really are and how they evolved in time along with the galaxies.
Oh, for sure. And the cool thing about this, which kind of blows my mind, is that the discovery of this QS01, it was only possible through a cosmic alignment. So, although all you I can't remember the name of it, but anyways, so there is a massive galaxy cluster lies directly between Earth and QS01, which created what astronomers call a gravitational lens. So Einstein's general relativity predicts that massive objects bend space-time, and this bending magnifies light from objects behind them. So in this case, this natural telescope effect allowed researchers to study an object that would otherwise be too faint and distant to analyze in detail. How crazy is that?
It's crazy. And the little red dot galaxy's extreme luminosity may arise from the active nuclei powered by the voracious acertation. The rapid growth suggests coevolution of black holes and host galaxies shaping each other from inception onward. So the study strengthens a case for a systematic surveys targeting compact infrared bright sources at the highest redshifts for confirmation. So we're looking for these red dots to discover more and find out more information.
Yeah. And so this represents one of the most compelling dark matter candidates because they naturally possess all the required properties. They're collisionless, stable if massive enough. They have non-relativistic velocities, and they form very early in cosmic history. So unlike hypothetical dark matter particles, these PBHs are composed of ordinary matter and require no exotic physics beyond general relativity, which kind of blows my mind because I'm still trying to wrap my head around dark matter and how we can't detect it, but yet this there's a lot to unpack here that they're talking about that just, and we've covered dark matter before, right? So this is throwing more into that unknown for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and this is just a theory. We need to go in at observational limits currently bound primordial searches motivating next generation instrumentation and gravitational wave complementary probes and surveys to follow up with the James Webb Telescope. So and it suggests that a coevolution indicates that black holes may drive, not solely follow, the hierarchical galaxy assembly. So like there's a lot of things that this kind of reframes about the Big Bang and the evolution of the universe and how everything works together. So I'm really interested in watching how this goes and how far back you can go practically with their instruments, and they get better and better. I wouldn't be surprised within a few months they've got more information. They start running this stuff more through quantum computers, and they find more signals in the noise, more stuff from space. We talked about that signal from space, but I think it was just at the intro, not that we didn't cover an article on it that you had mentioned a while ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'd love to know what your thoughts are on the universe's first seconds and these primordial black holes and how role they played in building the universe, from little red dots to 40 million solar mass giants. The James Webb Space Telescope is rewriting our cosmic origin story. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and watch the next instruments push even further back that curtain of the beginning of the universe time. Let us know what you think and leave your comments below.
Do you want to do Apple next?
You want to do that instead of this?
Yeah, we'll do that one last if we have time.
All right. If that's what you want, let's do it. Today is Thursday, September 11th, and 2 days ago, Apple announced their thinnest iPhone ever. New watches, smarter AirPods, and iOS 26. All upgrades. Let's talk about what's real, what matters, was it any good, and whether you should upgrade. What's going on with this Apple day, John?
Yeah, so just let's get it out of the way. Didn't hear anything about artificial intelligence from this day, which is not very surprising given what has been happening. But the star of the show, from what people are saying, is this brand new iPhone Air, which is the thinnest iPhone ever made at just 5.6 millimeters thick, which is thinner than most credit cards. So I think because I've been following Apple News, so I think why they did this is because next year, and I could be wrong, but they're going to unveil an Apple iPhone Fold. And so with Samsung's thin folds and all these other companies' thin folds, I think this is their first foray into kind of testing out the thinness of phones to see the durability and things like that. But this is Apple's answer, because I think Samsung started an ultra thin phone, and I don't know how thin that one was with the Galaxy S24, 25. But again, they all have these big camera bumps. The iPhone Air, they're not saying what the actual battery life is, but they did release in parallel with it a battery that snaps onto it. So they did reveal some other things too, but let's talk about this Air. What are your thoughts on it?
It looks okay. I thought they did 29 hours of video watching on the Air.
Okay.
That's what I thought. I'll double check that when we go through it. I mean, it looks nice. I don't know if I like the bump, but does it really care when you throw a case on it? It'll line up. The fact that have their own, feel it necessary to add their own battery pack, leaves me wondering why they did it in the first place.
I think it's for future phones, like the Fold. That's my thought. That's my theory.
Fair. So it looks okay. I mean, if I upgrade, I might upgrade to the Air, depending what the price is, because it's cheaper than a lot of the other ones. Because I'm still on the 12, and we're talking about the iPhone 17. So
you're still on 12. Okay.
Yeah, I've been waiting to upgrade, so it's just so eventually I have to, but we'll see. I'm not on the upgrade cycle. My phone does mostly everything it needs to do, so I might be able to wait another year or so. If nothing is grabbing my attention here. Do I really need a thinner phone?
I personally would. I know I have the Flip, the Galaxy Flip, but I personally would, if I was to go back to this style of phone, I would want something thicker with a bigger battery.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. I'm not a big phone person like the Max or the Pro, so I think if there's the regular iPhone, it's probably the one I would go with. I'll have to take a look at the specs and the battery life differences when it comes, because I thought the regular one had a 33-hour battery life and the Max had a 39-hour battery life.
Yeah, 39. Yeah.
So let me go back to where we were. Share this instead, so the people that were watching got to see a little video from Apple about the showing off the iPhone Air's new design. There wasn't anything that really grabbed my attention with it. I mean,
no.
For the Air, it's the thinnest phone. It's nice that they're creating thinner technology. That means they'll be able to pack more and more into a regular sized phone and whatnot. So that's really cool. The one thing, they got a vapor chamber cooling system, so they've got liquid in the phone now as part of cooling to help keep the heat down, because apparently in iPhone 16s and stuff they heat up pretty good. So I guess that's helpful.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's a cool concept, and they're using titanium, which hopefully, because remember there was Bendgate with one of the thin phones back in the day. So
yeah.
I think it was with the Samsung phone. So hopefully the titanium will avoid that. But I think it's cool. There were some there. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. There were some other cool. I wouldn't say like, oh my God, that's phenomenal, I gotta have to go buy it. There were some other cool kind of announcements, like the new Ultra watch will connect to satellites, so you can, in case of emergencies, and the live translation, I think, was cool.
So the Air has 27 hours of video playback.
Okay.
So just yeah, I mean, the new Apple Watches looked okay. I mean, the new SE watch is 3 is a big upgrade from the SE 2. The Ultra, which is really, a high-end $800 US watch, has some interesting capabilities. They're really, in all of these, adding better sleep, better hypertension detection now.
Yeah,
which is interesting. So the more and more getting into health, and I'm sure they're going to add functionality from your earphones as they put those patents in, where it can detect blood pressure and that kind of stuff in your heart rate in your headphones. So we're going to see more and more health tracking options, which is always good, because as we carry around more and more our devices, we can get more to what they used to call the quantified self. How much I walk, how much I move, how much I eat, what's my energy level, all these things. The more this stuff is tracked automatically rather than you having to do it, the more you can actually take advantage of the data. So that's good. But I mean, I had the Apple Watch 3. I took it swimming one time and it stopped working. And then, that was that. I don't really need one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a classic watch guy, so I don't think I'll ever own a smartwatch unless I wear it on my other wrist. I do like I've got a smart ring which works decently. But yeah, I don't see a need for an Apple Watch or any kind of smartwatch for me. But I think it's cool that they've got this and also in the new AirPod Pros, it will track your heartbeat, I think, while you're working out, which is kind of cool. So there you have them there, iPod Pros 3.
Yeah, they have heart rate monitor capability during workout, seamless workout tracking integration with iPhone fitness apps, and advanced health data collection, comprehensive wellness insights. The AirPods 3 does live translation capability, real-time language translation, which is interesting. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. And then there's iOS 26, which I've been running on my iPad for a while, not on the phone, but
has it been stable?
Yeah.
Any problems at all with it?
A couple minor ones, but because I'm still running the beta, sometimes like the hamburger button in the top left-hand corner will disappear on some apps. So like or the bottom, so you have to rotate it and rotate it back, and then it kind of appears, so you lose some stuff somehow. Yeah, and that has to do with, I guess, what it's doing for windowing and non-windowing modes that it has now. So there's some weird things, but other than that, it seems to be running okay. Yeah, so the headphones connect better, faster. They've got better sound now. But I wasn't blown away by anything here, except for I like the live translation, but they've been talking about that for a while, and I'm sure it needs your iPhone at a certain level to power it. So
yeah, so we'll have to see. But the one thing I liked about the live translation is it's going to be available on the AirPod 4s ANC and the Pro 2s, so you don't have to buy the 3s to get the live translation. But you probably do have to have an iPhone, which
yeah, I would assume.
Yeah.
And the other big thing is orange. I don't think there's a black, and they got new orange.
It's McLaren orange.
There you go.
If you know McLaren, guys, I'm a big car buff, but yeah, it's McLaren orange. That's what I'm going to call it. So I like the orange just because I like McLaren. So yeah.
So overall, I wasn't super impressed. Just another upgrade. Some stuff looks nice, but I don't get the gotta haves anymore from any of this stuff anyway. So let us know what you think. Is there anything you got to run out and get if you've been holding on for a while, or some of these features that you really are excited about it? That's the 2025 September Apple Drop, thinner, cooler, smarter. Tell me what, if anything, you're upgrading and why.
Yeah.
So, what do you got going on, John?
I was thinking of going to SAS North, but I don't know. But that'll be in November. But I guess October we'll just have finished Elevate or been going to Elevate. So I'm excited for that. And just helping companies secure government funding. If you need to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we can chat. How about you, Craig? What are you up to? What are you doing?
Well, this will be coming out in October. So we've got our October Startup Investor Drinks, our October Business Automation AI event with Flowgrammer, getting together our builder community and investor community together. It's great. Investor community, our builder community and automation community together. We do actual demos. We have great discussions. There's a lot of technical discussions. If you're a first timer, or you're just thinking about business automation or how it might help you, or whether you're into it and just want to talk to fellow automators using N8N or Flowgramming tools, or using vibe coding with Cloud or whatnot, check out the flowgrammar.ca for our events and that. Everything else, check out torontostarts.com for all our upcoming events and for coaching services and whatnot. Anything else to add, John?
No, that's it.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.